everybody. Welcome into another edition of Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, October 15th, 2020. Hello, fall. Yeah, it's a little bit chillier out than the last couple of days as we're now treated to some cooler temperatures as we move in closer to the weekend here and wrap up this Thursday. I mean, all in all, you can't complain today. It was nice and sunny compared to yesterday's dark and dreary day, but and yesterday's win too. My goodness. Andrew, did you have anything blow off the old Bamlet property that you had to go chase down? No? Everything stayed down? You had it tied down or whatever? Or whatever you can say to that. Yeah, it was very windy here. And I picked up the leaves on Monday night, and you can't even tell that had happened. It's, that time of year. So we'll just keep going at it one day at a time. And we're going to talk about the fall report coming up in headlines today. I think the last time we checked, it was at 30%. So we'll see where it went to in the last week. And I think you might be pleasantly surprised where we're at. But we do have other things to get to as well today. Today, we're going to talk about it's National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and wanted to bring this onto the show. We'll dive into a little bit here in the digest and get some resources out as awareness campaign for the month is out. A lot of awareness campaigns for the month. So try to get in as many as we can here during our digest segment for the rest of the month. Plus, we're going to check in with our favorite dietitian, our only dietitian, so it's easy to be number one. No, she does a good job. Andrea Miller from Hy-Vee will be here with some great breakfast ideas for you, and I'm excited. And she's even getting the now I'm gonna draw a blank on it. What's the quick pot thing? Instapot. Thank you. She's got the Instapot recipe for you in there for breakfast. Yeah, the third one with the sandwich. That's my go-to right there. So just saying. And Andrew's is, who knows? Andrew, do you eat oatmeal? Yeah, he's an oatmeal guy. He says, okay. Grits and whatever else she called. There was a new one in there too today that I'd never heard of. So the long oats. I don't think it was the long oats. It was something else along those lines though. Different cut of it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to all of that coming up here in just a little bit of time. But first, we get to your headlines. We start with a traffic alert. This coming in this afternoon. And it says here, October 16th. That's, tomorrow at 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Westbound McKee Road paving will be occurring. The contractor is scheduled to pave the surface layer of the asphalt on westbound McKee Road between Commerce Park Drive and Seminole Highway this Friday, October 16th. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is the section that is currently closed with the exception of the intersection. So the contractor will be closing access to Spoke Drive and Pine Way Trail for 3 to 5 hour period that day to complete the paving. Since we do not know exactly when the duration will be, the message board will be set up today that will say 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but the contractor will reopen each intersection as soon as the asphalt is cool enough. And we'll have, again, 4 message boards up for Spoke per the attached sketch, which Andrew has kindly put up there so you can see where those are located and what we're talking about. And then this weekend, the contractor is planning to shift the McKee Road, the westbound McKee traffic over to the newly paved north side. So the traffic will be split to allow median work at both ends of the project on Commerce and Seminole to be constructed. And then one of the final major operations will be surface asphalt paving for the rest of the project. And we'll be on the eastbound McKee Road Seminole Highway intersection. This work will approximately be 2 to 3 weeks out. And we'll have most of the significant traffic impacts. We'll provide further information as it comes available. And we'll keep you up to date with the latest as all of that comes in. But be aware that tomorrow, a couple of those intersections will be closed as they do that paving. And we'll remind you, of course, on Talking Fitchburg, the update tomorrow morning. All right, special drop-off locations for absentee ballots coming up this weekend, the first of 2 events. This first one is going to be taking place at Hugo Jamestown Park Shelter on October 17th, 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. The next one will be at McKee Farms Park Shelter on October 24th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as well. And, of course, you can always drop off your absentee ballot ballot right at City Hall. It's in the foyer, so you got to go into the City Hall building. It's the foyer there, and there is the absentee drop-off box located there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So stop on by. It says here, look for our staff to be wearing bright green vests out at the park events coming up this weekend. Also, in-person absentee voting will begin starting October 20th. Want to make sure we get you the latest info on this. This will be happening at the Oak Hall Room in Fitchburg Community Center. That's right next to City Hall, 5510 Lacey Road. Hours for absentee voting. Here we go. Breaking this down for you. Tuesday, October 20th through Friday, October 23rd. The hours are going to be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then on Saturday, October 24th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, also having the special pickup at McKee Farms Park that day as well. And then Monday, October 25th through October 29th, the hours will be 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and adding an extra hour there. And then the last day for voting in person is Friday, October 30th, and that is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please, please, please bring your photo ID, bring your own black ballpoint pen to mark your ballot. We do request that you wear a mask. We'll be practicing social distancing, cleaning up all of the voting areas, pens, and more. So we'll do our part. You do your part when you come out to vote in person. All right. As the weather is getting colder, we're all spending a lot more time indoors, and that can make spreading COVID-19 just that much easier. This graphic shows it all here for you. So as we do this, you will probably get invitations to attend get-togethers to celebrate holidays week after week. Throughout this pandemic, the majority of people who have tested positive for COVID-19 have informed our contact tracers that they had been in close contact with somebody who had also tested positive, or they attended some sort of gathering for the past 14-day period. More than half of the people who tested positive report close contact with another positive case, and about a third report attending gatherings or parties. It's time to double down on our efforts to minimize the spread of this dangerous virus, and it can be spread widely throughout our community and state. So please take all the precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19 as you start to consider whether you're going to be doing get-togethers here as we move into the holiday seasons. Finally, I wanted to tell you about a scam alert here through Facebook Marketplace. It's coming from our friends at the Department of Ag, Trade, Consumer Protection. The Bureau of Consumer Protection has received multiple complaints from consumers regarding false advertisements on Facebook Marketplace of an RV for sale for below market value. All Wisconsin residents should be on the lookout for these fraudulent recreational vehicles listing on for sale by the owner's website. In this scam, an unknown person or person is posting multiple RVs for sale on Facebook, the marketplace. When an interested party contacts the seller, they are advised the RV is in storage and packaged for delivery. The buyer is directed to make the payment through a third party, and then the RV will be delivered within 5 days. Once the payment is made, the seller can no longer be contacted, and the RV is never delivered. Victims have reported losing a total of more than $115,000. If you see this advertisement listed for an RV for far below market value, please take caution and always report these things. You can report it to Department of Ag, Trade, Consumer Protection. That information is on your screen. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we're opening up our digest segment. We're going to be talking about National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. That's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, transitioning to the digest. And today we're going to be talking about National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There's a lot of different awareness campaigns happening in the month of October. We'll try to get to a few of them here on the show, but wanted to start with this one as, again, we look at these different awareness pieces throughout the year. A lot of great awareness campaigns out there. So National Domestic Violence Awareness Month is observed in October for many homes. It's a place of love, warmth, and comfort, and it's somewhere that you'll be surrounded by care and support and can take a break. But for millions of others, home is anything but a sanctuary. In fact, the U.S. Department of Justice estimates that 1.3 million women and 835,000 men are victim of physical violence by their partner every year. And I start with that statistic as we kind of talk about what it is, and again, where can we find some resources to get help when you can? So what is domestic violence? I think breaking it down is the best thing we can do to start this. So domestic violence is the willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and or other abusive behavior as part of a systematic pattern of power and control perpetrated by one inmate or intimidate a partner against another. It includes physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, and emotional abuse. This frequency and severity of domestic violence can vary dramatically. However, the one constant component of domestic violence is one partner's consistent effort to maintain power and control over others. What does abuse look like? So there's definitely a lot of different ways of different types of abuse, and we'll just go through a list, one of the lists that I came across here. So some of the tendencies, telling the victim that they can never do anything right, showing jealousy of a victim or family or friends anytime spent away, accusing the victim of cheating, keeping or discouraging the victim from seeing friends or family members, embarrassing or shaming the victim with put downs, controlling every penny spent in the household, taking the victim's money or refusing to give the money for the expenses, looking at or acting in ways that scar the person they are abusing. Scare. Well, it's scarring too, I'm sure. Dictating how the victim dresses, wears their hair, etc. Stalking the victim or monitoring their victim's every move in person or also via the internet or other devices such as GPS tracking or the victim's phone. Preventing a victim from making their own decisions, telling the victim that they are a bad parent, or threatening to hurt, kill, or take away their children. These are definitely, and there's more here, threatening to hurt or kill a victim's friends, loved ones, or pets, intimidating a victim with guns, knives, or other weapons, pressuring the victim to have sex with one that doesn't want to, or to do things sexually that they're not comfortable with, forcing sex with others, refusing to use protection when having sex, or sabotaging birth control, pressuring or forcing the victim to use drugs or alcohol, preventing the victim from working or attending school, harassing the victim at either, and keeping their victims up all night so they perform badly at their job or school, or destroying the victim's property. All are different examples, and there's definitely more out there, but that list is definitely startling when we are talking about this. And there's help out there. There's a lot of resources out there. One that's local here is DAIS. It's DAIS. And their helpline, they have a 24-hour day helpline. That's 608-251-4445 or 1-800-747-4045. They have a business line, and obviously the fax one too. And then there is a national text line as well. And you can text the LOVEIS to 22522. And I don't know, Andrew, if you've heard about, some people are afraid to even report or say something. And certainly there's a lot of help out there. I know we heard from Chad Brecklin earlier on with COVID-19 that, there with more people being at home, there was more domestic violence cases reported. And, definitely getting the resources out there during this awareness month, super important. And I'm glad you put the list together there of all of the different types of abuse, because some people might not even know what's happening, but know something's wrong. And again, Andrew, when we post up the headlines today, we can post up the resources where we got this information. That's super important for us to share out with you during our show and every show we do each and every day. And yeah, we'll keep trying to post out more safety tips and more awareness campaigns as we do each month here on Talking Fitchburg. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, we check in with our dietitian, Andrea Miller from Hy-Vee. She'll give us some breakfast ideas next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. You're doing a good job, a good job. You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now, know that you matter.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Join me today from Hy-Vee. It's Andrea Miller, our favorite and only dietitian here on Talking Fitchburg. So it does make her our favorite. Welcome back to the show, Andrea. How you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Glad to hear. And today you're talking about my favorite subject, breakfast. The best meal. Although, I bet you'll debunk this today, but is it the most important meal of the day? Is it the biggest and best, meal by far? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily say it needs to be the biggest, but it's certainly relative, whoever's talking, I suppose, can say if it's the best. But the main focus, or one of the reasons why it's such a highlighted meal, is because we fast overnight. So we hear a lot about fasting these days, but not eating while we're sleeping can kind of be considered the original fast. So we want to have that nice break in the evening, about 10, maybe even up to 12 hours where we don't have any food coming in. It helps our digestive system relax. It gives everything a break, lets our metabolism kind of settle down. And then so our food in the morning is literally considered then breaking the fast. So that's where the importance of breakfast lies.
And when we're looking at this, I've heard, have you ever heard of the fasting, even fasting up to noon? So your first meal is really later in the late morning, and then you chow, 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 and then sharp cutoff at night?
Yeah, that's, there's some pros and cons to different types of fasting, but really as far as what's researched as far as how our metabolism works, our metabolism does the best during the waking hours, eating about every 3 to 5 hours. And so trying to avoid extremes. So technically, a fast is defined as anything more than 2 hours, believe it or not. And so, so if we do every 3 to 5, we're getting a little bit of a mini fast throughout the day. And what that does is it allows our body to dip into our fat stores and use some of that energy versus continuing to just keep piling it on during the day, essentially.
Yeah, and like you said, every diet's got its pros and cons, certainly. Bringing it back into breakfast time, creating a meal around the family when you're not in that rush and you're able to individualize these menus. Where do you start on doing that?
Yeah, so I have some thoughts here and some ideas to share on coming up with a base breakfast. So making a base breakfast for everybody to kind of start with. And then each person can use different toppings, whether it be apples this season, bananas or berries, nuts, seeds, whatever you're interested in, and you can individualize your own. So we have kind of 3 examples where you can do those kinds of toppings. And then we also have a breakfast sandwich example where each person can kind of build their own breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the breakfast sandwiches. So I don't know how you knew that breakfast sandwiches was going to be the thing, but
Yeah.
you got a thumbs up for me over here. Let's dive into some of these recipes. Is this first one chai pudding?
Yeah, so that's chia seed pudding. So,
Chia. Oh man.
So there's a good chance people have a bag of chia seed because they heard somewhere that they're good, and now they don't really know necessarily what to do with them. So as a side, chia seeds are good for omega-3s, and they're a good protein and healthy fat source in the morning. So that's the nutritional aspect of it. As far as how they work, they kind of swell up when they are put in liquid. So this chia seed pudding is just a simple example of equal parts yogurt and milk. I typically use a plant-based milk beverage to offset, the dairy-based yogurt to kind of get a little balance, but you can use whatever milk you want. And then you add the chia seeds to it, stir it. And then when it sits in the refrigerator, it only needs about 4 hours, but overnight it kind of swells. And so you get this nice consistency of almost like a pudding. And then you can eat it plain, certainly, but you can add all kinds of things to it if you'd like: granola, berries, fresh banana, whatever appeals to you.
Yeah, it sounds like a really filling, something filling in the morning, and something that you could probably even set like cups aside of it if you wanted to,
right.
To put it to go if you're in a rush. We're not in a rush anymore with COVID, not necessarily, but certainly what a great idea there. I have never heard of chia seed whatsoever, so I'm gonna have to look this up in the store the next time I'm there. So.
Okay.
I'll
help you find them.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably need that because I don't know where to look. Next one, I do have everything on hand to do this, and looking forward to trying this one. Let's talk about the pressure cooker steel cut oats.
Yes. So steel cut oats, interestingly enough, there really isn't a nutritional difference between the cut of an oat, so old fashioned or steel cut. It's just cut differently. Steel cut oats are really nice and hearty, and they kind of give a different texture than old-fashioned oats do. So they're not as gummy per se as old-fashioned oats. So sometimes when people don't care for that hot oatmeal in the morning, it's usually because of the texture. So let me just throw that out there. Steel cut oats have a nice, pleasing texture. And then they cook up well in a pressure cooker because they're nice and hearty. And so it's, again, a matter of water, your choice of milk, and the grain. And then if you have a porridge setting on your pressure cooker, that's ideal to use that. Otherwise, you can do it for the 8 minutes. And then you just want to be careful you don't overfill your pressure cooker because that can cause it to kind of get too foamy and can cause some issues. So if you have a smaller pressure cooker, just cut this recipe in half. Do half of everything. So a half a cup oats, half a cup milk, and a cup of water rather than double, and it'll work out fine.
Yeah, and then as you said with the last one, the toppings on this one when it comes out, again, match it with your favorite topping, and you've got a nice hearty meal. And this one is served up warm. Then is that right?
Yeah, but it does heat up well. So all you do the next day is just add some milk to it, and then put it in the microwave. I use a fork and break it up, and it heats up really nicely the next day, next few days actually.
Now that's the type of tips you can only get here on TF, right there. Right. That's awesome.
That's right.
All right, finally moving into my favorite one here today, although the pressure cooker one sounds pretty good. This baked eggs for sandwiches.
Yes.
Very interesting concept here, but you've got some great ideas here.
Yes. So take into consideration with this recipe, if you have a larger family, you can double this in a 9x13 pan, but I give the ingredients for an 8x8 pan. It makes about 9 squares of the egg bake. And so what you're essentially doing is you're using hash browns as a base. You don't need to cook them in advance. Hash browns or shredded potatoes as a base. Add your egg mixture on top and bake it. and then it'll be nice and solid, and then you can cut it into squares, and then each person can build their own sandwich. So if one person wants to use an English muffin, another one might have a biscuit or a bagel, or someone might not even want to put bread on it and then just put, some sauteed veggies over it. That's great too. So those squares do heat up well in the microwave also. And then you can use it for several days in a row.
Yeah, that this one I'm so pumped to give it a shot because it's super easy, and then like you said, set it aside, and put your favorite stuff on. And if you are a meat lover and you're trying to I want to supplement the meat with something, but where do you start? Do you look at that Canadian bacon versus regular cut? Thick cut? What do you recommend?
Sure. Canadian bacon is a nice choice simply because it's usually cut the perfect size. So there's really no fuss with it. You can just put that on top. The other nice option is if you wanted to add some meat is deli meat. If you have deli meat in your fridge, if you want to heat it up a little bit first in the microwave or in a skillet, that's great. But you could put that right on top as well if you want to add some meat to your sandwich also.
Yeah, that's a pretty smart idea. I was thinking some ham or turkey there, not a bad option.
Yeah.
All of these, again, probably good at reheating. Any tips on the reheat on that, the egg bake there?
Yeah, good question. I usually like to add, and actually this is kind of with reheating anything, I just add a little bit of water. You add a little bit of water, just a little dribble. It helps with the moisture when you rehydrate in the microwave or reheat in the microwave, and so it keeps the moisture so it's not so dry.
There you have it. 3 easy recipes here, and get you picking up after that big fast overnight and getting going for the rest of the day. Andrea, thank you so much for sharing these with us and the tips. We really appreciate it. And if more people want to learn more about these or anything else you got going on out there, how can they get a hold of you?
Easiest way right now is to email directly at andreamiller@hy-vee.com. And I travel to 3 stores in the Madison area.
She's very busy, but if you give her an email, she'll get in contact with you. Yes. Andrea, thank you again for your time as always. Look forward to checking back in with you later this month.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, Andrea, you guys got to try this. Get on in here and try some of this food. It's really good stuff. And I'm feeling really bad that we weren't able to be in person today to smell all the aromas of this. But again, we'll check back in with her real soon. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for today, I want to thank Andrea Miller for joining us with those great breakfast ideas. We'll get that posted up for you so you can check that out and hopefully try those recipes out. They sound really good. I mentioned at the top of the show about the leaf and the changing of the leaves in the report. Well, here it is. We're at 75%. We went from 30 to 75%. And the peak week is expected to be the 4th week of October. So, yeah, you can hear my kids. They're excited to get out and jump in the leaves there. And, yeah, look at that. Way up north, already past the peak of total leaf changing. And I'm still looking out here. We still got some trees that haven't changed yet. All right, as we wrap up, remember to stay connected with us through all of our great resources. Have a great day.